Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Developing a Data Quality Process. My goal over the next 20 minutes is to take an academic look at the data quality world and what we can do as administrators and data stewards regarding Salesforce data quality. My name is Mark Esdale. I'm one of the founders of CRMfusion, a software company dedicated to Salesforce data quality since 2004. You may have heard of our products, Demand Tools, Dupe Blocker, and People Import. Do I have any customers here today? Thank you. Since our inception, I've worked with more than 10,000 different Salesforce firms regarding data quality. Here's our agenda today. We're going to talk about why data quality is important. We're going to talk about how to assess your data quality in your existing CRM system, what kind of tools are available for that. Then we're going to talk about how to stop bad data from coming into a Salesforce system. So we're going to talk about the different ways data comes into Salesforce and what we can do to mitigate that. We're going to talk about standardizing and cleansing existing data, how to improve and protect data, and finally, how to keep data clean automatically. And then I hope to send you away with a couple of things you can do when you get home. Well, let's talk about bad data. What is bad data? First of all, does anybody here guarantee me they have no bad data in their Salesforce system? I love that. It's an impossible question, of course. What is it? I mean, it's data that's wrongly formatted. It's misstandardized data. Data that's duplicated. Data that's old and stale. Wrong, incomplete, data that's unused. We even see cases where customers have data that nobody can see. That's outside of the security model. And these are all things we're going to try to address as being as a Salesforce administrator or a data steward. Well, why is it important? I mean, a lot of this stuff's academically pretty easy, right? I mean, bad data causes general confusion in any CRM system. It doesn't matter if it's Salesforce or something else, but bad data quality results in inaccurate reporting. I mean, is your sales forecast really right? Is your customer list really right? It results in a lack of trust and bad dashboards. It results in time being wasted by every single person in the data chain that touches that data. If they're not touching good quality data, how can we expect that user community to do what we want them to do? Eventually, bad data quality will kill user adoption in any system. Bad data results in bad systems. For the coders in the house, bad data results in good code that doesn't work. Anytime you can write the best code in the world, but if it's trying to work on data that's no good, that code's not going to work either. And really what it results in is lost money. I want to talk about lost money for a second. This is a case study that came in from one of our customers. This customer sends out a fulfillment package. They're in the automotive business. They're fancy color brochures that they send out to all their dealer network. They send out 4,000 of these fulfillment packages. We went in and analyzed their first job when they did this. Sending out 4,000 of them at $20 each cost them $80,000. Unfortunately, they had 500 addresses in that data set that were invalid, and those pieces were delivered and then they went stale, costing them $10,000. They also had a 25% duplicate rate. So they sent out more than one of these fulfillment packages to 1,000 people, costing them another $20,000. 100 pieces went to just the wrong person altogether inside of those dealers. So that one single campaign, an $80,000 campaign, had a $32,000 overhead cost simply because of the data. And this is not unusual. We see this all the time. I've seen numbers even higher than this in some accounts. So now, does your CRM system have good data in it? It's a big question. And it's hard to look at data, especially massive databases, and truly understand them. So what can we do about trying to figure out whether or not we have good data? The first thing, and a lot of people I think don't take this step, is to define what their ideal is. Have you really sat down and said, my ideal account record in Salesforce contains what? What are the most important fields ranked? What has to be there? What's ultimately urgent? What's nice to have? What can we live without? Once we define that ideal, we can document that. The best organizations for data quality I go into have a handbook. They have a data quality handbook for their key objects in Salesforce. This is what our account record looks like. This is what's supposed to go into these fields. They document it, and then they prioritize it, and everything they do going forward is always a comparison back to that book. You know, is this activity matching our ideal? There are some tools that we can use. We can design, as administrators, we can design Salesforce reports and dashboards specifically with data quality in mind. Now that we have an ideal record, let's design a report that reports at everything that doesn't match that ideal. So if we decide that countries are 2-digit states, let's design a report for everything that shows us all the records that have three or more characters in their field. We can design reports for blank data, small data, and any known bad data we have. You can use a number of deduplication tools, including the one that our company makes, to simply search for duplicates and report on those duplicates without even going through the next step of merging those that we'll talk about later. We can, there's a number of App Exchange tools for calculating field usage. I mean, I think this is a huge thing out there in the admin community is too many fields on the records. You know, what percentage of your fields are actually being used? Is it worth keeping a field on your account table that's only used on 5% of the records? I think in most cases it's not. It's all about profiling and analyzing and always keeping this ideal record in mind and being able to compare those two together. Here's a little trick that I'll give you that you can do. A simple little Salesforce field up there, a little formula. A formula that analyzes, in my case, 5 of what I thought were the most important fields on my account record. So this formula simply gives 1 point if the email is populated, another point if the phone number, another point for the company, another point for the title, and another point for the industry. So basically, this field is going to be a number from 0, representing terrible data quality in my world, to 5, being good data quality. Once I write a little formula like this, it's easy for me to put it in the user interface. I just did a little image to formula comparison thing, right? And there I go. I can see this little record for Mickey Mouse up there is a 4 out of 5 star record. I can put this on reports. I can put this in the user interface. I can get my users involved in this. I mean, this field's so simple. You can see the phone number's blank. When I fill in the phone number, this is now a 5-star record. So, you know, maybe your sales manager, when they're reviewing sales reps' forecast as opportunities, should have a star rating on how filled out that opportunity record is. Bring data quality to the actual people that are filling out the records by showing them how it does compare against this ideal. Okay, let's talk about sources. There are, in my world, 6 different ways to get data into Salesforce. End user entry by the graphical user interface, end user entry by mobile clients, mass data imports, whether from the GUI or from a data loader type of tool, integrated systems putting in records through the API, and then finally synchronization technologies like an Outlook syncer or something like that. We're going to try to talk about 2 different things on these 6 sources. One is just what we can do to mitigate these problems. I mean, things that we can just do from a best practices perspective, and next, things we can do to truly control these. I also say things you can do for free and things you have to pay for. All this before we get this data into Salesforce. So let's talk about mitigating data from the first source, end user entry. This is probably the easiest one to mitigate. This comes down to how the administrator designs the system. Data access rules, first of all. Who's allowed to add and edit data? A lot of places just leave it wide open. I think some of the best orgs out there control it a lot more. I have a number of customers that you're not allowed to create an account record without an approval process. Everyone's just not willy-nilly in creating accounts out there. So you got to look at your own situation to decide. But I think the answer is, if in doubt, limit it. Keep as many people out of it as you can. When you're designing the record, what is your use of mandatory fields? What are you doing for field validation and validation rules? Are you absolutely maximizing the number of pick lists you can? I mean, if you want countries in 3-digit ISO, put a 3-digit ISO pull down for all the countries and make that the only available selection. fix the existing data, do that, and this problem's over. But most important, I think, is training users. Again, we got to take this definition of this ideal and why data quality is important and bring it down to the people that are actually using the data. Get them involved in this. The end user entry from the mobile client. Mobile clients are a bit trickier because we generally don't have the same level of control. But whatever control we have, we're going to try to get that end user mobile client to feed data into the system in the format we want to. And if not, we're going to have to be ready to do some post-data cleansing on whatever tool we want to. This is probably the biggest one here, mass data imports. Does anybody in this room allow any user to do mass data imports into their org? I hope not. But we see it fairly often. This is how you can create thousands and tens of thousands of bad records. We have to limit who's allowed to mass import into the system, and we have to make sure that these people have been trained at what a data import actually looks like and what that ideal data quality record looks like. And we only, of course, import data that we know is going to be imported against that model. Custom systems, this is all about the coder. The coder also has to understand that ideal record. There's no use that custom coder looking for long state names when we know we want short state names. So if we don't communicate that ideal record down to them, we can't blame them for bringing in bad data. And finally, web to Salesforce leads. This is one. It's probably the easiest one. If your web technology is copying your Salesforce technology, your data quality will move with it. However you designed your records in Salesforce, the form in the website will follow it. If you're not Salesforce based, again, just make sure that it follows the ideal. Syncing technologies is where we really have no level of control. There's nothing we can do. The Outlook syncers and the other synchronizations from email and contact systems are going to come in as however they come in. So that's mitigating. Let's talk about controlling. This is where we're going to get a little bit nastier. End user entry via the graphical user interface. We can use a real-time deduper on this. We can use a tool such as our dupe blocker product that literally is embedded in Salesforce and can stop a user from having the ability to create a duplicate record. We can create custom rules around this and say an ideal record looks like this and a duplicate record looks like this. Don't let duplicates in. And we'll throw that user error messages and make them use the right record. The mobile client, basically the same thing. We're going to use a real-time deduper. We're going to take the entry from the mobile client and either stop them from entering it on their iPhone, or we're going to take their entry and merge it with the existing records already. For mass data imports, we really have two different choices. You can use an import tool that just imports data, a raw data loader, the AppExchange data loader, or any of the other ones that are out there. Or if you want to go to the next level, you use something like our product called People Import that is a data loader with a deduper in it. So you literally have the ability to do an intelligent dedupe. So for example, when we take this trade show list of all the badge scans we do, I'll use People Import to import this so that if you're an existing contact, I'll update your existing contact record. If you're an existing lead, I'll update an existing lead from the past. If you're a new contact or a new person to us, you'll be created as a new lead. And we'll stop that creation of duplicates right at entry here. Custom systems, our dupe blocker product and most real-time dedupers have the ability to allow custom coders to write directly against our API. So your custom code can leverage that same dedupe technology. For web to or Salesforce to web leads, again, a real-time deduper that's watching the leads come in from the website and automatically merging them. I'll give you an example. You go to our website and fill out a Contact Us form. You create a lead in our Salesforce system. You go and fill that form out 10 more times. All you're going to do is constantly keep upgrading that same original lead. We're not going to be creating the duplicates. We're actually just going to keep on appending that same information there. And finally, our synchronization technology, still really difficult to control. We're going to need a post-data cleaning process. Okay, so we've tried to grasp a hold of our input locations. Now let's worry about what we do about existing data. Existing data, there's really only one thing we can do, is apply real data quality tools that access Salesforce via the Salesforce SOAP and bulk APIs. Here's where we're going to use a data quality tool to do things such as ETL, upload, download, transact tools, maintenance jobs and the such. We're going to run standardization processes. Let's go take an external tool and say, go in and find all the countries that aren't 2 digits and convert them to 2 digits using, native technologies. Let's go in and find all of the things that are against naming conventions and correct them so they match picked lists. We're going to run external dedupe processes. Ideally, we're going to go in and scan the existing database a number of different ways, looking for duplicate records. And finally, we're also going to have to do what we call lead processing, which is taking the existing leads in the system and comparing them against all the different records that they could potentially match, other leads, other accounts, other contexts. And our tool the tool in our company to do that would be our demand tools product, of course. Now, these are all great, but I'll tell you what the best customers do. The best customers take a tool like our demand tools product, and they develop these data quality jobs, and then they execute them under schedule every day. Imagine how your life would change as a data steward if you knew tonight 200 data quality jobs were going to happen against your database. All jobs that you understand what they do, you understand that things are going to be deduped 5 different ways, things are going to be standardized 25 different ways. All this stuff's going to happen today. It changes your life as a data steward because it changes your job. Your job now becomes to look for bad data and not to fix the data, but to fix the job that should have fixed the data automatically. And what you'll find yourself on is this upward angle of constantly improving data quality because you'll never have a chance to degrade. Those jobs run every day. So you're nice and clean today. Tomorrow you will only ever be cleaner. And every job you add into that nightly batch just makes that data cleaner today and going forward. And it stops what a lot of customers do, which is clean, then relax, and it gets dirty again. Clean, relax, and it gets dirty again. It's a mission of constantly cleaning the database. And it's really a concept that I call the self-cleaning database. This database is working all the time in order to keep itself clean. And we automate with a demand tools product called Job Builder. So just as a general review, right? We've looked at our input controls. We've done what we can to mitigate the damage that they could actually do to the database. We're constantly comparing them against that ideal. We put in some control strategies where we had to, and now we have this external process that's constantly looking and cleaning the database by itself. Our data stewards have their new job of figuring out only how the system is or how bad data is evading the system, and they're doing nothing but tweaking. What can you do when you go home? I suggest you get some things from the App Exchange. There's some great data quality dashboards on the App Exchange. They're really kind of plug and play. You can download them, install them, let them analyze your data. They won't tell you the world, but they will tell you some pretty darn good information in 10 or 15 minutes. Define your ideal records. Just even if you start at core objects, accounts, contacts, leads, and ops, define those most important fields on those objects. Get it documented. Maybe I've seen some people that even put a data quality tab in Salesforce, and that's where they put their definitions of this kind of stuff. Survey your users. See what your users think about data quality. See if they think if you have good data quality or not. Maybe use my formula and score your records so you can actually score those records and show it to the user. Put it on reports. How good is the data quality of this record? Review the data quality options that are available out there. And I guess in the big picture is think about data quality and create yourself a data quality plan. With that, I'll just say thank you. If anybody has any questions regarding our products, we're over that way in the booth. Charles there has some brochures if anybody would like some, and I'll thank you for time and attention.